Hello, this is John Greiner with Basin Safety Training and Consulting. This month, April 2020, we're covering a special set of topics for everybody that's in our training videos. A short little segment on wash-in, wash-out training, preventing people from illnesses such as COVID-19, and the coronavirus, and other types of illnesses that can get you sick in the workplace or at home. So these are procedures for health and safety during any type of airborne illness outbreak. So obviously the main purpose is illness prevention. We want to provide safeguards against potential spread of infection, ensure excellent hygiene, protect the public from potentially carrying illness forward. Even if you are immune to the coronavirus, you can carry and spread it to somebody else. So that's going to hopefully flatten the curve of any viral spread, as you may have seen charts in the news media, and also continue critical business operations while mitigating risk. Us in the oil and gas industry, we're considered essential workers, meaning that we must continue working in order to keep the country moving. So that means that we are at additional risk of being infected or carrying illness forward. So we want to make sure that everything we do prevents that from occurring. So first step in that is obviously prior to home departure. So one thing we want to do is make sure we're wearing clothes that are clean every day. Bathing and making sure that our bodies are clean, utilizing antibacterial soap or certified hand sanitizer. We do not recommend home remedies, meaning I bought some concoction online, mix it up, I'm a chemist, and boom, it's going to kill all the bacteria. Are you sure? Has it been tested? Does it actually work? Whereas you buy the Germ-X, even though that's a little bit difficult to get a hold of right now. We know that that's been tested, and the ingredients actually do kill germs. Also, packing all food inside of sealed bags and lunch boxes, utilizing mouthwash as much as possible, and checking your temperature. If you check your temperature in the morning and it's above 90 degrees Fahrenheit, you should not be leaving home, especially if 99 degrees. You should not be leaving home. That's just a time to stay at home. Even if it's not, the coronavirus, we want to prevent anybody from getting sick at this time for any reason. So travel is a big deal. We've all seen memes online of people, quote, protecting themselves while itching their their backside while filling up at the fuel station. So that's one big one, obviously, where many people are going to touch something that you're touching, any surface or equipment. You want to make sure that you're protected. So using gloves when filling up at petrol stations, and they don't need to be like latex gloves. They can be leather gloves or other types of gloves that protect you. Do not enter stations unless necessary. Obviously, you want to limit your interaction with the public. If you do have to enter, continue to wear gloves. This might be a little bit weird wearing leather gloves, but hey, whatever, it's going to protect you. Restaurant drive-thrus as well. When taking food or giving food, make sure that the guy that you're wearing gloves. Don't be touching those guys because they're touching a lot of other people. And then also, after eating in the workplace or in the truck, wash your hands. Use your antibacterial soap or sanitizer. Make sure that everything is clean. So in the workspace, we got a couple different types of workspace. People that are going to watch this video, we want to make sure that we wash our hands before entering the workspace. If you're working in a shop, before you enter the shop, avoid shaking hands. A lot of us have probably gotten used to the fist bump or the elbow bump by now. And then using Lysol wipes to wipe down tools or equipment after handling, if you're not wearing gloves. Working in the field, avoid handshaking again, cleaning all equipment after handling, and hand tools before putting in the toolbox. You want to make sure that anything that we're touching that other people can touch is completely sanitized before and after use. And then if you do make contact with personnel, this is kind of where the wash in, wash out, wash in prior to working and wash out before leaving work or before completing a task. So workspaces, PPE. So PPE in the shop, we want to make sure that we're utilizing gloves while working with equipment. And obviously some jobs and tasks require different types of gloves. Check your PPE policy and program to determine what types of glove. And then PPE in the field, same thing. Check your field safety handbook or health and safety manual, and it should give you directions for what PPE, specifically gloves. So workspace hygiene, if you're working in an office, we want to make sure that, once again, prior to going to the office, we wash our hands. Avoid handshaking as well, fist bump, elbow tap, and then use Lysol wipes on computers, printers, shared equipment, or electronic wipes, probably a better option. Dining at work, if you have to eat at work, once again, wash your hands, keep your stuff sealed, and then wash hands after eating as well. Basically, we want to prevent any germs from moving from one space to another. Public spaces. So we already talked about gas stations, but even if it's a grocery store, a liquor store, any place you're going where other people are, we want to make sure that we avoid entering them if we can. Is this a delivery pickup option that I have? Can I send my kid? I don't care if he gets sick. No, I'm just kidding. But you do want to prevent yourself from going into these areas. And then utilize the pickup services and ensure hands are washed prior to entering public spaces. And then once you leave, you want to sanitize as well. PPE in public spaces, not a super popular thing, but definitely something to consider. Wearing the gloves. I don't, walk around in a hazmat suit myself. You could do that. I know that there's technologies being worked on right now that are a little bit more easy and user-friendly than, a Tyvek suit. But you can wear respiratory equipment such as masks. You see a lot of people doing that. There's a reason that GM, Ford, Dyson, JGB, all these companies are developing ventilators now. They're refurbing ventilators. The reason for that is obviously clean breathing space. And then lastly, removing gloves prior to entering vehicle, utilizing professional glove removal process. If you're curious what that looks like, you reach in and you pinch the inside palm of one hand, pull the glove off, and then reach to the very tip of the other glove around the wrist, and then pull it over that other glove and then toss it. That's the professional way to do it. All right, next we're moving into the disciplinary program required by OSHA as well as a lot of our company policies and the reasons for it, types of infractions, etc. So why do we have disciplinary programs in the workplace? Well, it's important to have some sort of accountability measures in case individuals are doing or performing work in a way that's dangerous or acting and behaving in a way that could potentially cause others to leave the company. We've all been victims. I don't want to say victims too strongly, but we've all experienced this to some level or another, and we can understand and appreciate the need for some measures of safety for people. So first of all, they're implemented so that workers can have a safe environment to work in. They provide actions against unwanted behaviors in the workplace. They're not designed to get workers in trouble, but provide avoidance for these sorts of situations. And the ultimate goal, is to discourage employees from behaving in a manner that would put themselves or others at risk. So it's kind of a comprehensive program. Each company is going to have a different way of handling infractions, but here's a few that we typically see. Tardiness is a big one that we've experienced even in our company. Guys just showing up kind of 15 minutes late, 10 minutes late. Fighting, violence, harassment, sexual assaults, bullying, insubordination, theft, drugs or alcohol on the job. These are all different types of infractions against, that essentially warrant some sort of discipline on the job. And insubordination can come direct or it can be behind the scenes. There's a lot of different ways to not follow the company programs or policies. So the order of operations, typically we recommend, first of all, reminding people. Some guys just, don't remember, or they're just not very good at following orders directly. So you remind them, hey, you didn't do it the right way, but here's the way that we want you to do it. So I believe in setting goals rather than just setting precedents for failure. Then a verbal warning, hey man, this is serious, you're not following the rules. Then written warning, it's kind of the third one. I'm not a big fan of write-ups personally, because usually when you've gotten there, things have gotten a little bit out of control. But then fourthly, suspension, and finally termination if necessary. So verbal warnings, once again, they're designed to coach people. Hey, this is the way things have been going. This is the way that we want them to go now. So informal. Sit down, one-on-one. If you want your HR person there, fine. But really designing steps to get people back on track, going the right direction, and adjust properly, and giving them an opportunity to share why they did the thing that they did as well. So it should not be a one-sided conversation. If that doesn't work, behavior still occurring, then that's when we get into the written warning side. So as I mentioned, written warnings are a little bit, once you get into that point, we've kind of crossed the line. That's when they've consistently shown an ability to follow company policies. These are formal, and you definitely want your HR or president or some upper management in on these meetings and explain in detail why what the behaviors they're doing are either against company policies, against safety procedures, etc. And then you should have this document be signed by the employee as well as by the management, and put in their file. After that, if that's still not working and you want to keep the guy or the gal, then we're going to suspend people, send them home without pay, essentially. And at this stage, they're going to be going home, not working, and really giving them an opportunity to think about, hey, is this really the job for you? If you don't want to follow the rules, there may be a reason for that. Sometimes people have things going on at home, so following proper procedure at the workplace is not their number one priority. However, that doesn't really matter when it comes to company policies, procedures, or the safety and health of themselves or other people. And lastly, termination. Now, depending on what state you're working in, North Dakota, for example, is considered a right to work state. What that means is that you don't have to have a reason to terminate people. Even in the termination phase, though, and all along the line, I truly, deeply believe in coaching as a process. So we've let people go, and it's easy to just say, yep, we don't need you to come in tomorrow, thanks, yep, leave your laptop at the door, peace out. That's one way to do it, but I believe in helping people and equipping people to do better in their next stage in life. So sitting them down and saying, hey, look, we've talked to you, we've documented, we've sent you home, still this behavior is happening, there's probably a better career opportunity for you outside of this company. And once again, you want this to be documented and information to be stored in their file, and just in case for future reference. So why does it work? The goal here is to assist employees and coach employees, again, to change their behavior, understand why they behave a certain way, and hopefully guide them towards your company principles, goals, core values, etc. Should motivate employees not to lose their employment or financial security, encourages a safe and healthy workplace, and removes employees quickly that are violating policies and not wanting the workplace to improve. So managers and supervisors, a few things you should know about this. They need to be fair. They can't be reactionary. Well, you gave me a dirty look or didn't say hi to me in the morning. It needs to be specific and guided towards a fair and balanced approach at making employees better. So favoritism shouldn't be involved in this. Yelling or belittling shouldn't be involved in this. And ensure that the employees know the expectations of the company. Typically, when I'm involved in these, I like to ask the individuals what their goals are. And if they don't align with the company, say, hey, well, this is your goal, this is our goal, they're not meeting. How do we figure this out? Because ultimately, the company needs to run efficiently and effectively. And when you got people that aren't wanting to be a part of that team effort, then you need to find a way to make it better. Now, I'm not even saying that our company or your company always has the right direction, and that's why it's good to listen as well. Hey, maybe they're not doing it your way because there is actually a better way, and being open to that on the the initial reminder and verbal warning, being open to those topics is a good idea to kind of improve and see if there's maybe, as they say, a speck in your eye before you remove the log in somebody else's. So certain behaviors can obviously affect more than the work environment. Some are illegal, can lead to prosecution, fines, incarceration. More and more, OSHA and other federal agencies are prosecuting individuals for allowing unsafe behavior or directing unsafe behavior. So, figuring that out, rooting it out, and ensuring it doesn't happen in your workplace is absolutely necessary. So when it comes to drugs and alcohol in the workplace, obviously affecting work or harassment, etc., there needs to be a zero tolerance policy. The reason for that is it protects managers and supervisors and the company from litigation of different types. Now, a lot of times it's easy to sweep things under the rug because you want to protect people, and that's you don't want to do that once they've crossed a line. Recently, I was in a meeting with some gentlemen, and they were just sharing old war stories, and there was a guy during a safety meeting that brought a gun into the workplace and raised the gun and fired the gun at the presentation screen, shooting a hole through it as a joke, thinking it was funny. And, everyone looked at him and were like, what are you doing? And to him, it was funny. In these situations, when people have crossed the line, you can't keep them. And the longer you kind of let people do behaviors that aren't consistent with your core values and your company's goals, you're going to eventually have serious issues that come up. So a good disciplinary program really keeps everyone at the job safe and accountable for actions and behaviors that they do, both physically and mentally. A big part of this is reporting incidences that happen to supervisors immediately, knowing the expectations of the company as well as the supervisors, and also following rules set forth by the company. So kind of wrapping this up, it's a little bit of a shorter presentation. So wrapping this up, disciplinary programs are there to protect you, the employee. So if you have a supervisor or manager who is maybe the problem or part of the problem, definitely call for a meeting, talk it through. A lot of people just stuff and don't say anything and leave the company, but there's no reason for that. I mean, everybody has areas of opportunity, including supervisors and managers. Obviously, as an individual, you want to be following all procedures and rules put forth by your company, including treatment of other workers, customers, and even yourself in the workplace. Disciplinary, sessions, whether they're verbal reminders, written, etc., you want to use these as an opportunity to coach and not belittle employees. It's not about making them feel bad about what they've done or putting them in the timeout chair. This is really a way to help them grow and get better. And then lastly, we want to give employees specific goals and expectations to work on. So, and we've had instances where employees, were not performing. They just were either slower than they need to be than the expectation, or just completely did not understand. And in one case, we coached an individual. He started working a lot better, and his performance just wasn't really quite there. And candidly, one day he went in and they found out he had 80% of his heart was blocked. His brain was not getting enough oxygen. And it was a big part of the reason that he wasn't performing is he wasn't firing literally on all cylinders. So after that happened, we saw a complete turnaround after he went to the doctor and got everything squared away. We saw a dramatic improvement in this individual's work performance just based on the fact that he was healthy at that time. So listen to people, understand their reasons for doing what they're doing, and always try to coach and consistently help them to get better. All right, and that's all we got for April 2020. Enjoy the rest of your week, and please stay safe out there. Take care of each other, and we'll see you next month.